Can anyone learn to sing? That's what you'll discover on this episode. Hello, and welcome to this new episode in which we're going to be talking about learning to sing and also a little bit about talent. So, my mom doesn't believe that she can learn to sing. She always says, "Oh, I'm singing out of tune. I've always sung out of tune, so that means I cannot learn to sing because I wasn't born with a talent for singing." And maybe that is a thought that you've heard think yourself, or maybe someone else in your environment is telling you these things. I wasn't born with a talent, so I cannot learn to sing. Now, I understand where that thought could come from, because we grew up in that way, with the idea that we get this talent when we're born, this gift, and you either have it or you don't. That's something we hear all the time. And the question that we're asking ourselves here today is that true? Is it actually true that you cannot learn to sing if you don't have that talent? So if you're like most singers that I work with, you might have that belief that you sing off key and that you therefore cannot learn to sing. Maybe that is something that popped into your mind. Now, suppose that you're actually one of those people that says, "I sing out of tune, so I cannot learn to sing." Suppose that's you. Well, then that's actually a good thing, because the fact that you are now singing off key, the fact that you're not singing perfectly, means that there's a lot to learn. And learning is always good, right? It's good for your personal development. It's good for your self-confidence. So learning is always good. So I'd like to ask you this question. Has there ever been a time in your life when you thought that something wasn't possible to learn, but you still managed to learn it? An example, I was really scared of water when I was little, so I was really scared to learn to swim. And for years, I was the one in my class I was always behind because I was always scared to go into the water and swim. Eventually, I learned it. I can swim now. Same thing with driving. In the beginning, it's scary. I don't think I can do it, especially driving with a stick shift. But now I can do it. I've learned it. So that is the essence. It's not about whether you can actually learn to sing, because we know that everyone can, and I'll tell you why in a second. It's about the willingness to learn to sing. Are you committed? Are you motivated? Do you want to learn to sing? If the motivation is there, then I can tell you that everyone can learn to sing, as long as you're not tone deaf. So all the people that are not tone deaf in the world can learn to sing. And I'll tell you why, because singing is the vibration of our vocal cords. Our vocal cords are here in the larynx. You can compare them to two elastic rubber bands, and they're vibrating. And how do they vibrate? Well, by pushing air through them. Now, you can make those vocal cords or those rubber bands go longer, and then you have a higher pitch. Or you can make those rubber bands go shorter, and then you have a lower pitch. There are muscles making those rubber bands or our vocal cords go longer or shorter. So just as an athlete is learning to use its muscles in a certain way, that is how we as singers can use our vocal muscles in a certain way. Now, as long as you are not tone deaf, you can learn to use those vocal muscles. That's why everyone can learn to sing. Now, 4% of the population is actually tone deaf. So I don't believe that you are tone deaf, because if you're passionate about singing and if you like to listen to music, there's a good chance that you're not tone deaf. If you want, well, you know what? Let's just do it. A short test to see if you are tone deaf, because then you can go to sleep without worrying whether you're tone deaf or not. So if you can hear the difference between this pitch And this pitch? Can you hear that one is different than the other? Then congratulations, you are not tone deaf. You don't need to be able to tell me whether the first one is higher or lower than the second one. That's not what you need to tell me. The most important thing is that you can hear that this one is different than this one. If you can hear that, you're not tone deaf, which means you can learn to sing. I even worked with a choir, Shout at Cancer Choir, and those are people that don't even have vocal cords anymore. Their voice box got taken out and replaced with an artificial one. Even those singers sing. So even people without actual vocal cords can sing. So I want to tell you today that it's not about whether you can or can't. It's about how committed you are, how motivated you are. How much do you want to learn this? How much time do you want to spend doing all of that, learning all of that? That is what it's all about. And so a first step that you can take towards that goal of learning to sing is having good breath support. That is the foundation. So let's do one little exercise before we sign off here to get you activate that breath support. We want to activate our diaphragmatic breathing. If you don't know what that is, we'll do a whole episode about it in the future to go deeper into it. But for now, let's just put your hand on your tummy or on your side and just breathe out without thinking. Breathe in without thinking. And breathe out on a long S sound. Keep going, keep going. You should feel the air disappearing, and the more the air disappears, the more your abdominal muscle tighten. Whenever you have no air left, just release those abdominal muscles, and you should feel that you are automatically filled up again with air. So, for the people that are watching the video, I'm gonna show you my tummy. So here is my hand, I'm breathing out. Breathing in, and a long S. The air is going out. My abdominal muscles are tightening. And when I don't have any air left, I'm just releasing those abdominal muscles. And here's my breath again. That is the foundation of good singing. So I want to encourage you this week to practice that. At least once a day, just breathe everything out. On an S, feel those abdominal muscles tighten, then release them, and feel how you're automatically refilled with air without having to do anything. That is a natural reflex of our body. Okay, that is your challenge for this week. If you're doing the challenge, let me know in the comments below. I'm always curious to hear what you're up to. Also, so you can do the exercise, then I want to encourage you to warm up your voice before you dive into repertoire. To warm up your voice, that's an important part. I've made a vocal warm-up. You can download my own vocal warm-up that I do every morning. I recorded an MP3 for you and put together a PDF explaining you how step by step you can warm up your voice in a healthy way. You can download that vocal warm-up for free. You can find the link in the description below. So have fun with that. Have fun with your breathing exercise. Have fun with the singing this week. Thank you so much for having been here, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Bye.